Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner, you believe in the First Amendment, don't you?
I do.
Why do you ban Dave Portnoy from NFL games? He's a journalist. In fact, he's a sports journalist. Why is he banned?
Congressman, I'm not familiar with that issue. I'm happy to check with my staff, but I'm not aware of that. Yes.
Do you agree with the Washington Redskins' decision to fine Jack Del Rio $100,000?
That was the decision that was made by Coach Rivera. Again, as I stated earlier, they are responsible for monitoring and managing their own workplace. He made that decision on his own. I did not speak to him. I have great respect for Coach Rivera. He made this decision for reasons I'm sure that he thought were important.
I appreciate all. I appreciate all that, Commissioner, but that's not what I asked you. I said, do you agree with the Washington Redskins' decision to fine Jack Del Rio $100,000?
I don't think it's my position to be able to say whether it was the correct decision or not.
Well, if you're trying to figure out where that whole thing was going, so is everyone else, because that's a House Oversight Committee hearing that's supposed to be held about the toxic work environment that was created and went way over the top by the owner of the Washington football team now, Dan Snyder. He created this whole situation. We had the cheerleader situation. We had racism involved. We had definitely some misogynistic views that were pushed around throughout the organization. But instead, Jim Jordan, who sits on this apparently committee, couldn't stay on that topic and went to go to Dave Portnoy, who we're gonna find out about. And he went to grill Roger Goodell on Jack Del Rio, assistant coach there in Washington, and his words about January 6th. Now, he was fined by the head coach. Again, trying to find where Roger Goodell finds himself in this scenario. It doesn't matter, because this situation is here for Jim Jordan to win some political points off of. Here's footage of that incident where Portnoy was dragged around and taken out and continues to break these rules.
Hey, Roger, I bet you didn't think you'd see this mug today. Drag me out of there in cuffs. You ripped my jeans. You ripped my skinny jeans, Roger. What the f***? Kick me out of that game. Doesn't matter. Put me in a holding cell. Put me in the cuffs, Roger. You can't arrest me. Can't throw me in jail because you know there'll be an uprising, Roger. Brady, greatest player of all time.
So Jim Jordan's complaining about that event when it's obvious that Portnoy wanted exactly that to happen with his promotional video afterwards. And also, again, when people stage protests, when it comes to anything, they get arrested. And when they get arrested, the point is then we get some more attention on this situation. Let's go to some details for more of this, because Portnoy, who he brought up there at the beginning, the commissioner had no idea who he was, but this is what all went down. Dave Portnoy can be called and categorized a lot of things according to our branded contest here of awful announcing, none of which are sports journalist. But in case you similarly aren't familiar with Portnoy versus Goodell, the Barstool founder issues with the NFL go back to 2015 when then New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady was suspended over Deflategate, one of the biggest scandals that was happening before the Super Bowl. Apparently lessened, he took a little bit of air out of some of the footballs, and there was defenders and there was people that hated him for it. Apparently Portnoy was incensed. So the Barstool Sports founder was arrested in 2015 while protesting the NFL's New York City headquarters, and then, as he claims, he was banned from all NFL events moving forward. There's more reasons why he might have been banned. Let's look into that. At the time, Portnoy and other Barstool members were arrested outside league offices for staging a protest and refusing to leave the premises. Portnoy was arrested again in 2019 when he snuck into Super Bowl media day. And later that week, he was literally dragged out of the Super Bowl by security. So none of that was brought up when he was asking the commissioner about why Portnoy has been banned from events. It was just, do you agree with it? Do you agree with it? What's the matter? Again, we're talking about the Washington football team. So there's more attention apparently around Dave Portnoy and his support for Tom Brady and his Deflategate issues. Fine, that's what he wanted, but we're still mad about it. He got what he wanted. That was the point of his protest, right? There was other protests that went on in Jim Jordan's background that he probably does want people talking about as he's talking about free speech, because he definitely held up the free speech and actually the stories of 6 former wrestlers that say Representative Jim Jordan knew about abusive Ohio State University doctor. This is back when Jim Jordan was an assistant coach on the wrestling team there, and allegedly knew about this doctor that molested some of the athletes and had it covered up by people like him. So again, there's lots of things in this guy's background that he probably doesn't want to talk about, but he definitely wants to cover up more of the same that looked like it was happening on that Washington football team. What are your thoughts on this, Steve?
Well, a couple of things. I think it's hilarious that, and I think it's great that Roger Goodell doesn't know who David Portnoy is or is not aware of Portnoy's credentialing issues, and nor should Goodell know about that. I mean, Goodell's got a lot of other responsibilities. Leave the media access to somebody else. So good for Goodell not to even acknowledge him. But it is awfully rich. It is awfully rich for the reasons you just pointed out. For Jim Jordan, Jim with a G-Y-M Jordan, to somehow take issue with Roger Goodell not knowing about a media figure who's not getting credentialed, when there's Jim Jordan, who was literally told between 1987 and 1995 about the sexual abuse of the wrestlers by the wrestlers during the locker room. And then he has the audacity to say, oh no, I never heard about it. I didn't know anything about it. And yet he's mad at Roger Goodell not knowing about David Portnoy. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, okay, even if he's lying and knows about David Portnoy, what does that have to do with this? Because again, they can't stay on topic. The point is to make everything political that leans towards them coalescing society and people around them to be like, that's right, how dare he? We shouldn't talk about the misogynistic, horrific practices that went on with this Washington football team. Let's talk about Dave Portnoy, who got what he wanted. Attention.
And he also noticed that there was, I mean, look, there he was questioning Roger Goodell and using the old name for the Washington football team. I mean, being as politically incorrect as possible. So you knew, look, this is another reason why it's so smart for the Democrats to make sure that Jim Jordan would not be on the January 6th Select Committee, because he makes such a mess, he makes such a ridiculous spectacle and takes things off topic and only serves to distract from what these hearings are about. So again, anybody who sort of wonders, oh, Jim Jordan, it's unfair that he was kept from the January 6th Select Committee. No, we're actually getting facts and the truth from that committee because Jim Jordan doesn't have anything to do with it.
I think we know what he would have done if he was there.